If and when employers are ready to open their businesses or given the go ahead, what sorts of rights do employees have if they're not quite comfortable returning to the workplace?
Well, I think the most important thing for employees to know is that they should talk about it with their employers. Uh, there are certain laws that govern safety in the workplace, mainly OSHA. The Occupational Safety Health Administration has a guideline that requires that each employer provide a workplace that is free from recognized hazards that are causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm. So that applies certainly because COVID-19 is something that's recognized as a serious hazard in the workplace. However, for most employees who work in environments that are either low or medium risk, they will have to return to work with precautions to provide for the limitation of the spread of the disease.
What about personal protective equipment? Are employers required to provide that?
If it has been recommended by a governmental agency that the employer have PPE equipment or that the employees utilize it when doing their job, then yes, the employer should provide it to their employees.
Let's say there's an outbreak of the coronavirus in the workplace. Is the employer liable?
OSHA is going to make sure that the employer has taken reasonable steps to prevent any sort of outbreak of COVID-19. And so they'll look at the steps that they took, both in terms of providing education and guidance to their employees, the sanitation procedures that they put in place. They'll look at some administrative changes that could be made and some environmental changes that could be made. Things such as we're seeing in the grocery stores now with one-way aisles and markings on the floor designating how far away you should be from other employees or from other customers. Those sorts of things are steps that every employer should be taking as they're looking to bring employees back into the workplace.
Given that there are so many unknowns right now, how much weight does this Families First Corona Response Act? How much weight will it carry as people start to re-enter the workforce?
I think we're going to see much more use of the leave that is provided in that bill. Certainly, when someone is caring for someone with COVID-19, or they may be infected with the virus and are uh, told not to go back to work, there will be leave provided under these laws for 2 weeks, certainly the first 2 weeks for any employee that has the need for such leave.
We've had you on this program before where we talk about Arizona being a right to work state. What sorts of things do you think we ought to consider as Arizona potentially prepares to re-enter the workplace?
Well, certainly for any workplace that is union governed, the CBA or the collective bargaining agreement is going to play a role in what needs to be done. I do think we're going to see more employees look to maybe the unions and whether or not they should unionize to provide themselves more rights. As for the at-will employment, I think we're going to see where some employees are going to say they don't want to come back to work for concerns over COVID-19, and employers may decide that they need to separate ways with that employee.
It would be fair to say there can't be an expectation that your job will still be there then if you make that sort of announcement about not feeling safe in the workplace.
That's correct. The different laws do protect reasonable good faith complaints or concerns being raised. But if your employer describes to you the steps they have taken to make the workplace safe, in terms of we've talked about sanitation and other environmental controls, whether it's changing how often they replace filters and air conditioners, or if it's physical things they do, such as barriers, once those are explained to an employee and it appears good faith what the employer has done, the employee should come back to work.
Okay, Barney Holtzman, thanks for your insight.
Thank you for having me.